The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA for mature audiences. It may contain sexual references, time travel references, allegations of bin misconduct, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that this episode is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15 or anyone who thinks a comedy conversation between two old mates sounds like a terrible idea for a show. Minors must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax, this is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson. Hello, and thank you for watching.
A bit of feedback on last week's show, Will, the saga of the lost/stolen phone.
Oh, yeah.
A few people in the chat have said that they enjoy the mundane stories that I bring to the table. They get a lot of enjoyment about the day-to-day going-ons of my life, whether it be bins or mobile phones. So sometimes I prepare stuff, like I'll bring an article in or something like that. But then I'm like, well, if people loving the mundane stuff, let me give you some mundane stuff. And this is something that you can contribute on too.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. I'm a bearded man. I like having a beard. I like having different lengths of beard. I like to adjust, the style, mustache sometimes, full beard sometimes. It's a complicated canvas I'm working with.
I mean, pretty mundane so far.
Oh, strap yourself in. It's going to get real mundane. But this is something that's been sort of playing on my mind. And you're always good to talk to. You're always very rational. You give me good advice. So I figure maybe this is where TOFOP pivots. After 351 episodes, we actually work out what this show is.
The most
an
mundane,
advice show.
The most mundane podcast on the internet. We've led off at the start of the episode with, well, it turns out our niche is mundacity.
Well, Clausen is a Danish name, so do we just call the podcast, Mundanish?
And each week I'll eat a Danish and you'll tell me a mundane story.
Well, get yourself a big plate because this has a lot of kind of moving parts to it.
Okay,
and
great.
A lot of it has to do with my own kind of, my own brain. What is wrong with me? So... like I said, complicated facial patterns required for me. Often I have to trim my beard. I don't like being clean shaven. I like a good beard trimmer that takes it down close if I want it close, but I also like to style the beard when it grows out.
I heard you talk to Matt Stewart on FOFOP. Very funny
Yes.
episode, by the way. Loved you
thank
guys
you.
bonding both over St Kilda Football Club and New Metal in the exact same episode.
It's like two 15-year-olds getting together, isn't it?
And I did notice that you both had a conversation because he's got a very impressive beard that you had a bit of a conversation about your trouble spot is between clean shaven and growing back your beard because it is too rough for both your wife and your child.
Yeah, that's right. So I try and keep it, if you think of it like a clipper length, above a 3. Right. Is probably where I need to keep my beard. That's when it softens out. Anything below a 3 becomes like sandpaper. So I have done a lot of research on beard trimmers when I've been working on TV shows.
Great, by the way, to know, though, if you're ever doing work on your deck again, and you need to sand it back.
Oh, yeah, right.
Out of sandpaper.
Just put my face on it?
You just go, I'll go and have a shave and then give me a day. I reckon I can varnish this right up.
So when Iona finds me unconscious face down on the deck, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was sanding it. I was sanding it. That's what I was doing, yeah.
Sanding it, honey. Sanding. Your dad is a handyman.
What's all that beer bottles doing there? Nothing. That was just, I was capturing rainwater. Rainwater for the garden. So I've done a lot of research. Every TV show I've worked on in the makeup room, they often have a variety of clippers. And, I always would have long conversations with the makeup artists about, I think this works. And so I'm not a big fan. There's basically two kinds of beard trimmers that you can get. One is like the clip-on, where you clip on the different guards. So, started 1, 2, 3, 4. And I find that kind of fiddly and annoying. The other one is kind of like an extendable guard, usually on a dial or some kind of like slider. So you can, and you keep it all together. And that's my preferred beard trimmer. But
I will tell you, by the way, because I have, with the very quick side story, because
please, we'll need some padding.
Some padding. Some padding to this mundane story.
Yeah.
Here I come with some padding.
Yeah, so, some icing.
It's hard rubbish in my area at the moment. And because everybody's been in lockdown, and they've been locked in their house, obviously, for, months at a time now. They've clearly all had time to just stare at shit in their house they hate and decide that it belongs on the nature strip. So in my area, and particularly because we don't have the scavengers at the moment because people can't go 5 kilometres outside their LGAs. So normally in my neighbourhood, some good stuff goes out, but it all immediately disappears as the scavengers
Normally, we've talked about this before in your neighbourhood. Normally it's all good stuff. Like the stuff that people throw out in your neighbourhood is like first choice for most other households.
Well, some of the stuff that's been thrown out of my neighbourhood got thrown back into my house, as you well know. So
you had 2 Chesterfield armchairs that were in the pod cave in your Sydney home, right? That was hard rubbish.
And they're still there, and I'm considering putting one of them back out in hard rubbish because I don't have room for both of them anymore. I still have room for one, but I am thinking about separating the pair and putting the other one out. It's also meant that over the last couple of days, I decided that I would... I haven't been living in the house, much in the last sort of year or so. We've had guests in and out. Some stuff just gets messy and accrued. And so there's all these drawers in the kitchen. And so I've cleaned out all the sort of, cooking implements. I've like washed everything. I put everything kind of through the dishwasher. I cleaned out the cupboards, did all that sort of stuff. Then I decided I would tackle the drawers that have just had shit shoved in them over the years. So there's about 3 of them in the kitchen and there's one in the bathroom. They were just just full of shit and so in my bathroom cupboard, I would have found 12 of what you're talking about, those clip-on extenders, because I only ever use the beard trimmer to just trim straight back down to what it trims to. Like that's like what I will go to, but I never use any of the...
You don't need anything longer than a 1 then, or maybe you don't need any of them at all. You're just using the actual clipper blade.
Literally the blade.
Yeah,
the clipper blade, that is what I use. And so in my cupboard, there was I reckon 16 extenders.
Can I ask why you don't just use like a normal wet razor?
Oh, I don't like it smooth. So I'm a bit different to you. Like if it goes smooth, my face feels funny. But if I just take it down to that sandpapery, because I don't have the sandpapery consistency. We would have to do the deck with your face first to really sand off some shit. Yeah. But if we just needed to give it that, like on a fingernail file, there'll be like a coarse one, there'll be a medium one, there'll be like a fine, which is just for really shaping. Mine is fine.
Or is it like 2 sides of Velcro? Like you got the hard side of Velcro and the soft side. If you and I kissed, would our faces get stuck together?
Finally. 351 episodes in.
We get to it. This has all been an elaborate ruse to get you to kiss me.
This was going to be mundane, but now Charlie and I are going to kiss.
Well, the minute we can get back into the same studio, maybe we'll make that a bonus episode. We kiss and see if our faces stick together. Like Velcro. Right. Okay. So, I've done a lot of research on clippers, the ones that I like. And so I like the one with the guard that's attached so you don't have to clip the ones on and off. But I found this this one particular beard trim about 4 years ago. It's a Remington. And it has a pop-up mustache trimmer as well. So you think about it it's like a switchblade. You press a button and this tiny little blade pops out from the front. Or it's more like in Alien, you know how they have the second little mouth that pops out? It's like that. So you've got the main clipper bit for your face, and then when you want to trim the edges, you hit this little button and a little mouth comes out and you can do, and it's brilliant. It's such a great beard trimmer.
But it's a specialist.
Specialist.
The mustache is I don't want to touch the rest of your face. I'm a mustache specialist.
Yes, exactly. And I love this beard trimmer so much. And then about maybe 18 months ago, a year ago, tragedy struck and the guard, the plug-on guard snapped. So a couple of the teeth broke. So it was no longer possible to use because you just get like an uneven beard. So it comes with another kind of like a backup guard, I guess, which is like a clip-on thing with a little dial, but it doesn't offer the same sort of degree of finesse. Like you're not getting the same kind of like degrees in between hair levels and all that kind of stuff. But I've been using it begrudgingly, mainly because I love the mustache trimmer. It's such a great addition. Anyway, when we came to the Gold Coast, we sort of left home in such a rush that I didn't bring my charger. And so I had probably about, 2 or 3 weeks of being able to use this thing before it busted out. And I've been trying to find like-minded, plugs in all the accommodation I'm staying in, like unplugging alarm clocks and stuff. And I don't know. Oh, look, I'm not an electrician. I don't know how it works, but I'm finding plugs that are exactly the same size, but I guess it's something to do with like the wattage or the voltage or something like that, because I'm plugging them in, the light's coming on the charger to say it's charging, but then it's not taking any juice. Do you have any opinion on that?
Yeah, electricity is very fussy about what it serves. It's like, this is not an alarm clock. Fuck that. This guy's going to rub this on his face.
Well, it's like, do you notice when you went to the States and you tried to plug in appliances, like you'd get the adapter and it wouldn't work?
Because of the different wattage.
It's so stupid. Like, everyone should just be like universal.
Why can't the power of electricity be much simpler?
Yeah.
Why can't it be one size fits all?
It should be one size fits all.
Why can't I use the same amount of electricity on my vacuum cleaner as I do on my razor?
Well, they used to do like, region coding for DVDs and things like that. And then everyone was like, this is fucking stupid. Let's just unlock it and have like a global standard, for whatever format we're going to use. They should do the same thing with electricity. It makes no sense unless... there's
you've got to take it to some dodgy retailer who can rewire it for you. You'll be like, mate, it's okay. You'll be able to use this plug for everything.
So the shaver wasn't working. So I was like, okay, this has been a good shaver to me, but maybe it's time to get a new one. Yeah. And I'm a bit like, I'm not like you. Something breaks, you get a new one. I'm much more kind of guilty Catholic, where I will use something until it crumbles. I will try and like hold it together with masking tape and stuff. And, Gemma's always like, just fucking like get a new one. What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to prove? And I'm like, I've got integrity. I just don't throw things away once they stop working. I hang on to it. I'll do my very best. I leave no shaver behind.
Yeah, but there's a problem with your approach, which is that there's two positions that are reasonable. One is that you throw it out and you get a new one. But I understand there's some argument that that's not good for the world and it'd be better if we didn't throw out as many things and replace them all the time. And it's that sort of consumerism that's leading to the destruction of the planet. So there's the other end, which is the people who repair things. There's repair shops and kiosks and community groups that get together and go, you know what, if you've got a shaver, I can rewire that shaver and we can get it going again. But you are stuck in some limbo in between, which is just continuing to use the broken product. Like, you're not fixing it. Yeah. You're not trying to take it apart and rewire it and make it work again. You're literally just going, stubbornly, it's broken, therefore I am going to just keep using it. It's like you've got a hole in the bottom of your drinking glass, but as long as you drink quicker than the water falls out the bottom, you're still getting some water and you're like, this will do.
I literally had a water bottle that had a leak in it and I refused to get a new one. I just wouldn't fill it above the leak point, and I would hold it on the side where the leak wasn't when I was drinking from it. And again, Jem was like, can you please just get a new drink bottle?
Because again, these are not majorly expensive items that we're talking about either. Like, I understand if this is like, you've got a lawnmower and, you ride on lawnmower, like, one of the blades is a little wonky or whatever, and you don't know how to replace it yet, but at some stage you will. And I kind of understand that persistence. But these are water bottles and like razors are inexpensive items really to replace.
Yes, 100%. So first thing I did was try and find a replacement guard for this particular brand of Remington. And I couldn't find it anywhere. Couldn't even really find a spare part place. Sometimes you can find
it's because they're all in my bathroom cupboard, Charles. Yeah. That's why. It turns out I am some sort of tycoon. I've struck it's like, it honestly does feel like that.
If you had counted on the fact that there'd be like lockdowns countrywide and, people shutting their borders, people stuck interstate with no charges and needing, new blades, you would have made a fortune.
I'm like one of those guys who stockpiled toilet paper at the start and tried to sell it for $20 a roll. I should have been farming out these razor guards.
So I couldn't find the replacement guard, the one that you can scroll up and down. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go start looking at new razors. And I also went to the Remington website, and from what I discovered, it was discontinued, like that particular brand. I was like, oh, that's a bummer. Okay. So it turns out not far from where I'm staying, there's a shaver shop. Big outlet store with, dozens of brands of beard trimmers. And I'm like, well, this should be like an easy process. I'm just going to go in. I have two requirements. One is I want the built-in guard that's on an adjustable dial, and I want the mustache trimmer. That's all I want. And so I go in, and a lot's changed, Will, in the last, 4 or 5 years of trimmer technology. For one thing, ball trimming is all the rage. I'm not sure if you're aware, but everything's for your balls now. Like, there are so many wet trimmers, ball trimmers. And it's funny how some of the ball trimming products you know, they use euphemisms and stuff like, you know, if you want to clean downstairs, and others are like, this is how you trim your testicles. This is how you do it. Get your scrotum out and cut the hair off it like this.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I like the more direct approach. If I'm going in to buy something to trim my testicles, which I am not, I need to point out 100% I am not. But if I were to do that, I think I would want to purchase a product that had really direct instructions about what it was I was doing. I wouldn't want to like open a euphemistic instruction book, like where it was referring to it as down there or the area. I'd be like, no. How closely do I put it to my scrotum?
Well, I guess men, with the advent of all this ball trimming technology, men have been experiencing what women have experienced for years when it comes to advertising things like, you know, tampons or sanitary pads. It's like, what are you doing with all this blue dye and stuff? Like, it's confusing. So now for men, it's like they'll put shaving cream on a watermelon and run one of the razors over it. And you're like, what? Does this guy have elephantitis of the nuts? What's going on?
I've never got a hairy watermelon, and if I did, the first thing that I would think about is not shaving it. I would be returning it. I'd be like, there is clearly pubic hair all over the outside of your watermelon.
I mean, it was an interesting insight into how male grooming has changed. Like, I think it's not a surprise to anyone that advertisers realized, about 20 years ago that half the market they were missing out on. So now they're just like advertising as hard to men's insecurities as they are to women's. And so there was so many products in there, which is like, if you got a hairy back, you gross pig, shave it with this, you know? If you got gross hair here, shave it with this. People are disgusted by you. Shave in the shower, you pig. Like all this.
You know what I love about that as well is that the lesson that we learned out of it wasn't that men have been able to be gross pigs and not have to shave their balls and stuff like that. So therefore, perhaps we could have those same standards for women, that they can present themselves however they want to with hair on their bodies and, you know, not makeup or whatever it is that they choose to do. And that is okay. No, our lesson was we must make men feel bad about these things.
You're all
as well.
gross. It's the Garden of Eden principle. It's once you've eaten the forbidden fruit, you're going to realize you're naked, and you're going to feel tremendous shame about being naked, and you want to do something about being naked straight away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, otherwise, how are we going to sell you shit? So if we can't exploit your absolute fucking shame about how you look. By the way, also, the idea of selling this, you know, like maintenance regime in a time of lockdown when people aren't actually seeing each other is also, are you doing it for yourself? Like, who is it that is going to suddenly, you know, or is it just that sort of thing of like, oh, well, I'm at home and the only other person who's seeing me perhaps is my partner or friend or whatever, and at least I should look good for them?
I think you are forgetting about social media. I mean, from what I can understand, everyone's
how am I going to get my dick out on Grindr?
People can't see the forest for the trees, so to speak. I mean, that's what it would be, right? Like, everyone's sending nudie pics to each other and stuff. It's like you can't have physical contact, so here's this. Here's my hairy watermelons. Or my baby smooth watermelons, I should say. Yeah. So I go into the shop and I'm looking at all these products, and I say to the lady, "Can you just take me through the beard trimmers?" I said, "Here's the ABCs of me, baby. Here's what I need. I want like a built-in guard, adjustable guard, and I want a mustache trimmer and blah, blah, blah." And so she said,
she's like, "But how hairy are your balls? What are you going to do about your balls?"
She said, "Your watermelon's all right?"
"What are you going to do about your dirty, hairy watermelons?"
And she said straight up, she's like, "Oh," no, she's going, "Well, we can sell you this one. This one has a mustache trimmer separate." And I'm like, no. Like, I
don't want it separate. I want it attached.
I want like the alien mouth, you know, flick it out. And she's like, "I don't think we have one that does that." And I'm like, I mean, you got to be joking, right? Like, it's the greatest feature of the Remington. And I said, show me the latest Remington. And she's like, "Oh, this is the latest Remington." And she showed it to me, which is identical to the one I have, but they've got rid of the mustache trimmer. And I'm like, "You fools, you maniacs."
They've got a meter-long ball trimmer. It comes out a meter. It's just, if you need to trim your taint, here's our extender for that. Because that's what we're doing now.
A dentist's mirror and a foot-long razor blade so you can do your taint. I couldn't believe it. They got rid of the one feature that to me was made it exceptional. So I was like, okay. And I said, I'm more than happy just to replace. I'm happy with the razor I have. I just want to replace the guard. And she's like, "Oh, well, you know, you can contact Remington, but, you know, if it's discontinued, chances of them having it are pretty slim." So I was like, okay. I said, "Look, let's just start again. I want a beard trimmer with an adjustable guard and a mustache trimmer, and you don't have that, well, what would you advise? And she said, well, I would tell you this one separate and this one here. So I was like, okay. And we went through all the different kinds of beard trimmers. And to be honest, Will, if I'd listened to my instincts, none of them were floating my boat. It was like being on The Bachelorette or The Bachelor. And I'm like, no, I'm not gelling with any. None of you are getting a rose. I'm not really feeling it with any of you.
Sitting around for 3 days hoping there's going to be an intruder.
Yeah, exactly. It just was uninspiring. And you know, all the features that she was showing me were stuff like that. I don't care. Like she's gone, this one traps hair so you don't have to wipe up your sink. And this one you can take in the shower. And I'm like, you're not hearing me. I want a mustache trimmer built in. That's all I want.
Also, by the way, it traps hair. So all that means is at some stage you're going to have to empty out your hair yourself into something else. Or you can shave just into the sink and wipe it up.
Well, when you trim your bum fluff, do you do it in the bathroom and wipe it up with a towel? Because this is the thing, you know, when you live with a partner, it's a gross thing to go in and find like little hairs everywhere. So what's the decorum that you've adopted in your shared space?
I shave when I'm doing the television. I shave once a week.
Yeah,
I shave
once a week. You can shave once a week. Oh my God!
When I'm doing the TV, when I'm in real life, when I'm not doing the TV, about once every 6 weeks.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I would see you in that time and not notice any difference in your facial hair. Is it taking that long? What's your hormone levels at?
Well, whatever I'm at today, like this is a week. So this is a week since I shaved. So I shaved on Sunday last week and we're recording on a Sunday. So whatever you're seeing right now,
that's incredible.
Is 1 week of me.
I shaved here, like down to a 1 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That's insane. I think I got all yours. All the hair that you should have, I got.
Yeah, so I'll have a shave today because I like to shave a couple of days before the TV, so I don't have too much of a baby face.
Yeah,
and there won't be as you can see, there won't really be a lot of hair in the sink anyway.
Okay.
So I'll shave just into the sink.
Yep.
And then I wipe that up like with a towel or whatever. But then I'll just rinse whatever I can't easily wipe up down the drain.
See, mine is the complete opposite. To continue with the alien analogy, it's like the acid for blood. Like I shave my beard and those little particles get everywhere. Like they get in the grouting, they get in the sink, they get in the floor. Like if I shave...
On the outside of your watermelon that you just had in the bathroom while you're having a shave, you're like, how am I going to get that off?
Like if I shave and then don't immediately shower, like washing my face is not good enough because it's happened before where I've shaved and then I've given Iona a cuddle and the hair transfers to her, so suddenly she looks like a little version of me.
Beard.
She's got like a little...
weird that our baby has a beard?
Your baby looks like George Michael. What's going on?
Your baby's just in the corner talking about how she wants her freedom.
And I was told by a makeup artist, and I don't know if this is true or not, but she said that she in between makeup jobs she'd work at a hairdresser's, and she said she had to quit because the hair is... like it gets everywhere. And she said hair can implant in your skin and start growing. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that it could implant in your skin.
Yeah. She was saying that you can get like skin in your pores and it starts growing. You have to pluck it out. Like transferring a pot plant.
So essentially like a free advanced hair.
I guess
like this is a strand by strand replacement.
I don't know if or maybe it's not that it grows, but maybe it's sustained like a pot plant. So... it goes into the pore and it's fed nutrients. Yeah.
So what we're saying really, though, is that like if you're a boarding person and you can't afford advanced hair, get yourself a hairdressing apprenticeship.
Go to a barber. Just roll your bald head along the floor of a barber.
You guys cool if I just come in for 30 minutes and just roll around in the hair on the floor?
Podcast Mike, can you do a bit of like fact checking on that? Now I've said it, it sounds ridiculous.
It doesn't sound like it's true. Or it sounds like if it is true, it's the sort of thing we would have heard about by now. But
well, yeah, I mean, I guess the point of her story was it would gross her out to come home and find like other people's hair on her skin and under her nails and all that stuff. Maybe I could have sworn she said it grows, but maybe I'm going to send her a message after this. Double check that fact. So where were we? Kissing babies, giving them a beard, trimming.
Okay, well you're at the shaver shop.
I'm still at the shaver shop.
You want to get this new product from the shaver shop. They don't have the one that you need anymore.
The mustache trimmer. Yeah.
But they do have a range of other new technology.
Yeah. Okay. So she's talking me into, we'll just get a separate mustache trimmer. Like this thing does ear, nose, and mustache. It's got all these adaptable blades, and it's really good, which, to be honest, as I'm getting older, is becoming more and more of a factor. Like, the hair around my ears grows faster than the hair on my head these days. It's frightening. Like, I have hair growing out of my earlobes, around the whole of my ears. It's a whole bloody mess. And nose hair as well. Like, it's just, I need to get a whippersnipper in there. So that I wasn't so kind of annoyed about. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to need to get a new nose and ear trimmer. So maybe if it's a really good mustache trimmer, it's worth getting as well.
You know what, though? I don't like the fact that mustache trimmer has been demoted to the twos as far as I'm concerned here.
Yeah,
because
that is.
like in the old days, it was hanging out with like beard trimmer, which is your face, which is your prestige location, right? This is your Broadway. For trimmers, the face is what we're showing to people all the time. The balls, that's its own area. That's a subculture. That's the dark web as far as I'm concerned, you know. Whereas your ears and nose feel like they should be separate to your mustache. Your mustache should get like, you know, the respect of being treated the same way as the rest of your face, not like it's not an internal operator, your mustache. Your mustache is external, not internal.
Yeah, I agree. And it's all to do with the facial region because it's a look you're creating. Like, the mustache can't exist without the beard if you're going for like a full beard. Well, unless you're the host of the Curiosity Show.
Right.
Then a beard can definitely exist without a mustache. Podcast Mike has got some info. I can't find any reliable sources on the hair thing, but there are some forums where hairdressers seem to say that it's a thing. And also that hairdressers always wear closed-toe shoes. I remember her saying that, so their hair doesn't fall and grow on their feet. Yes, That's exactly what she told me.
So, is that where hobbits come from?
I guess so.
They were a race of hairdressers back in the day.
Well, they all have those perms, so it makes sense. Hairy feet and perms.
The Shire, 95% hairdressers.
So she talks me into, well, she gives me an option. So I find one beard trimmer that kind of resembles the Remington. It has the same kind of like plugged on guard, and it's got like an adjustable dial. And, you know, I had to play around with it in the store. It seemed good. And the beard trimmer mustache trimmer / ear nose trimmer as well. So I had these two separate purchases. And I sort of was, in my mind, I'm like, should I just search a bit harder? Like, am I ready to move on?
Here's what I would have said. Is like, you're at the shaver shop.
Yeah.
And for me, the shaver shop feels like if they don't have it at the shaver shop, they're not going to have what I need somewhere else. My instincts would be like, come on, this place is literally called the shaver shop. What sort of shaver is not going to be stocked in the shaver shop?
Yeah. So, you know what I did? I was smart. I was like, I'm going to think about it. Mm-hmm. So I handed the boxes back to her and I said, look, I was going to think about it. I had a work thing a couple of days ago where I needed to sort of clean up my look, and I was like, all right, it's time now or never, Charlie. You're gonna what is it? Pot or shit on the pot or get on the pot? Or what is it? Shit in the piss pot? Or what's the saying?
Shit or get off the pot.
Is that what it is? It's disgusting. Don't rush me to get off the pot. I mean, you don't know what my medical history is. This might be very necessary for me to stay on the pot. How dare you?
It sounds like someone making a whole bunch of excuses for sitting around on the pot all day, not shitting. So
I did shit. I did shit right in the shaver shop. They said, sir, you're going to have to leave.
Sir, take those watermelons.
I went back, and it was a very quick purchase because I had done all my investigation a few days earlier. And so I get this beard trimmer and the mustache nose ear trimmer, and I get home.
Did you consider talking to another person at the shaver shop just to see if they knew of a special supply of the mustache?
Well, it was a second person when I went back in, and I did ask again about the Remington because I was just not willing to let it go. And she gave me the same story. She's like, well, no, I think that one's discontinued. This is the latest one. No mustache trimmer. So I get home, and I've got, a couple of hours before this meeting, and I bust out the new beard trimmer, and it's charged up, and I give it a go, and it's garbage. Absolute garbage. It's not giving me the finesse I need. You take it down to a 1, it's not nearly close enough. It's missing patches. It's just a garbage purchase. And I'm furious with myself. Furious for just giving in that easily. I knew what I wanted, and I allowed this person to talk me into it. In her defense, I did get out the nose and ear trimmer. Pretty good. But the mustache trimmer, not so great. Not as good as Old Faithful, as the old Remington. So I'm like, oh, God damn it. I read the returns policy and it's like, if you've used it, you can't return it. Obviously, skin to skin. It's a bit gross, especially in COVID time. So I'm like, okay.
I know, but that is tough because you don't know how good it is before you use it.
Exactly. And that exactly, Your Honor, is my argument. So I go back to the shaver shop and I say, hey, thanks for your advice. I bought this one. I said, look.
But it was bad advice because you've sold me a shit shaver.
Yeah. I used it once. I said, I'm really not that happy with it. I said, what is your returns policy? And she said, well, have you opened it? I said, yeah, I've got the box and everything. It's just, I've used it. And she said, well, we can't take it back. She's gone, however, you can come see my manager, works on Tuesday. She's got a bit more power than me. If she wants to return it, maybe she can. She said, the other thing you can look at doing is that particular brand has a 30-day money back guarantee. So you might want to go direct to the manufacturer. And I was like, oh, well, that seems interesting. I've never exercised a 30-day money back guarantee. You hear it a lot in advertising, but I've never really investigated it. But I'm like, okay, well, that seems like the smartest move. I don't have to put them out. They don't have to, explain to their boss why this thing's being returned. I just go straight back to the manufacturer. Not happy with your product. They're worth their weight in salt or whatever the saying is. If they're going to piss in the pot or shit or whatever, I'll get my money back. Now, just a little addition to this story. Not an expensive purchase, $80. Yeah. Not a lot of money at all. Not really worth getting that upset about. I know $80 is a lot of money to some people, but in this particular instance, I can afford an $80 misfire.
In the grand scheme of the world, $80 is not a lot, but it's enough.
It's annoying.
That if it's a shit product that you're not going to use,
it's an expensive annoying. Paperweight is what it is. So I go onto the website and I look up their 30-day cancellation, and it's this really weirdly worded legal document, which is you have to be in possession of, you have to have the item for at least 30 days before you, it's not like you return within 30. You have to have the item for 30 days and then return within 100 days. So I'm like, oh, I see.
Fuck you. Fuck you. If I don't like it on the first day, I'm sending it back. I don't have to have it hanging around my house so I can forget in 30 days, and then you've given me a window of a subsequent 70 days in which I can send it back. No, thank you.
But that's clearly the tactic there, isn't it? It's like, well, in 30 days, they're either just going to give up or they're going to forget, and we just wait out that next 70 days.
Forget, because it's a shit product. You found out it was a shit product on the first day, and then you put it in a cupboard for 29 days and forgot to fucking send it back. And so 10 years later, it's hard rubbish night. You're cleaning out the back of your cupboard. There it fucking is.
And to make it even more galling, I was so annoyed I was annoyed at myself. I wasn't annoyed at the shaver girl. She was just doing her job, and I told her what I wanted, and I just got it wrong. I was annoyed at myself that I hadn't sort of stuck to my guns, or at least done a bit more research. And to make matters even more,
and a little annoyed at Big Shaver. The fact that Big Shaver have looked at body hair and concentrated more on the watermelons than the mustache.
Yes,
I think is an oversight.
That's right. What about us mustachioed gentlemen? Our balls are fine.
It's the
but
middle
it's
of the face. It's literally almost the most important bit of body hair on your entire body, and I feel like it's been devalued by the shaving industry.
It's been shamed, Will. I'm going to go one step further, and I've been shamed for having a mustache. They're trying to make me feel like a second-class citizen.
Yeah, are you saying this thing that I wear below my nose is the equivalent of the shit that's in my ears? Well, it is not.
Even more galling, I decide before I take any action that I'm just going to have another search for this Remington and see if I can find it. And I fucking find a brand new model of Remington that has a built-in mustache trimmer.
Hang on. So this is a model that they told you didn't exist at the shaver shop?
The model I wanted is obsolete. They don't make it anymore, but they've released a new model that is almost identical to the model I want. It's just like a souped-up turbocharged version. It has all the features I want and probably a bit more. Now, I don't know what happened.
Can do your ears, nose, and watermelons. As well.
I don't know what happened in the interim because I honestly did like a huge search. I got the serial number of the shaver. I put it in Google. I looked for spare parts. I looked at, and everything. The Remington site said it was no longer in stock or it was no longer being manufactured. But I don't know if this is like literally in the 2 weeks since a brand new shaver's come out or what's happened. But it exists, and I was like, God damn it! And I see
maybe at Remington they've just been waiting for one more inquiry. Maybe they were like, we are not going to release this new model until there's like 1,000 people who demand it, and you just happen to be the lucky 1,000th. So when you walked into that shaver shop that day and they're running through the headquarters, they're like, well, that's it. There's enough demand. Let's roll it out.
You think they have their Google alerts for like Remington? What is it? It's the Remington 4045. That's the model that I love. The beard trimmer 4045. I immediately purchase it. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It has to come from the States. Maybe that's
I'll pay anything.
Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it wasn't available because it wasn't available. Maybe I was looking on the Remington Australia website because when I booked it, it's like, it's going to take 3 weeks to get here. And I'm like, oh, it's coming from the US.
Okay, so question.
Yeah.
Has it arrived yet?
No, I only ordered a couple of days ago.
Have you considered the fact that it won't work in Australia?
Fuck no. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I ordered it from Amazon, like the Amazon Australia, right?
Okay.
So, oh my God.
Well, maybe it'll be okay.
I didn't.
But
it's not like I specifically went to an American site to order it
Yeah.
and used an American credit card. I just used my normal Amazon account.
Right, but it's coming from America. So, like, did you check?
I'm assuming it's coming from America.
Did you check
why?
what the plug was?
Look, eh?
Like, did you check?
No.
What sort of plug it would have, and therefore what sort of plug it would need when it came to Australia, and whether, as the aforementioned wattage can be different in different places, whether it would indeed work on the same wattage in Australia.
I'm just logging into my purchase history.
Good stuff. This is good stuff. Good mundane stuff.
Where would it say? Okay, it's an 18 voltage 110 to 120 VAC. What does that mean?
Okay.
Podcast Mike, can you just Google what is the standard charger for or voltage for Australian beard trimmers or shavers? Is it 18 voltage 110 to, I'm just going to hang on. I'll just copy this and put it in Google and see. Shit, Will. I think it's US. Oh no. Oh no. This is the disaster.
I mean, it might be okay. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe you just need... Do you have an adapter?
They couldn't ship to Australia without putting an Australian plug-in, surely.
Oh, I mean, I bet they could. I mean, it doesn't... It may come with, like, you know, because you've ordered it from Australia, maybe there is something in their system that means they send it with an Australian. But we have... The aforementioned problem is that sometimes they operate on different wattages, regardless of whether you've got the right cord or not. So,
I mean, my VPN is set to Australia, so it's not like it thought I was ordering in America. I mean, I don't know, man. How does it work? I'm looking at. I just put that wattage, that voltage in, and their American plugs are coming up. Oh, this is gonna suck. Oh, I was cock of the walk a couple of days ago. I thought. That solved all my problems. This is a disaster. I mean, but surely. So the actual unit, the actual beard trimmer won't run. If I get my hands on the old charger for the original Remington, won't that charge the new unit?
I mean, it might charge it, or it might not work because it's different wattage.
Look, if there's any electricians or anyone who knows anything about electricity who listen to this show and you want to contribute, that would be...
I mean, it's going to be a pretty fun debating point until it arrives and you plug it in and we can see what happens.
Well, I guess we've got content for the next 3 weeks.
Bit of sizzle.
And that's a plus. Well, it's completely derailed what I wanted to ask you, which is like, I was going to ask, like, do I Because I've packaged the new one up, the trimmer I don't want.
Yes.
I was like, should I just go ahead and get my money back, or do you think I just take the loss and walk away?
No, I want to see if you can get your money back. I think they rely on the fact that people take the loss and walk away.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But I'm going to be one of those dudes. It's like with parking fines, how they're like, who's going to write a letter in to get off the parking fine? But if you can be asked doing it, they're like, oh, I like the cut of your jib. No fine for you.
Yeah, I recently had like a red light camera, and I saw it flash when I went off, and it was one of those ones where, you know, when you make the call of like, you're close enough, you're like, is it going to be worse for me to brake here or just like go through? And I must have like honestly just, because I will always err on the side of stopping if I can safely stop, but this one I clearly decided, no, I mean, the best thing for me to do is just advance at the speed I'm advancing. And even at the time when it flashed, I was like, fuck, that must have been real close, because I really didn't feel like I had, you know, run the light. And so when it arrived in the mail, it was like one demerit point or whatever it was. And it was like a fine of 110. Like, it was obviously whatever the minimum can be for that scenario. That's what it was. And there was a big part of me that's like, I should fucking write a letter and say, I reckon I did the right thing here and get my money back and my point back. But who could be fucked? It's 1 point and $110. And I was just like, nah, I'm just going to pay it.
Well, there is like all these kind of sub clauses in their returns policy, which is like, you know, you have to like demonstrate why it wasn't, up to satisfaction and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I like those companies that are like, hey man, you don't like it, here's your money back. Like, how do I demonstrate to you that your razor is shit? And also, in the meantime, I need to trim my beard. So it's like, I mean, if I do that 30-day, my concern is I'll use it over the next 30 days, and then Stockholm Syndrome, I'll start to like it. It's like, well,
that's part of their plan, clearly.
It must be.
Like, because two things. You either put it in your cupboard for 30 days and you forget about it, or you go, fuck it. I might as well use it for the 30 days if I've got to keep it for 30 days. And they hope that you will lower your standards during that time. And you'll be like, oh, well, it's not as good as my old one. But I kind of forget my old one now. I'm used to this one and this is fine. I'm not going to send it back.
Well, I woke up this morning. It's been bothering me for a few days. I've got a problem. I woke up so incensed this morning. We're house sitting for some friends of ours who are away on holiday. And so they've got a lot more gadgets around their house. And I did find another plug, the right size. I think it was plugged into, I don't know, something. And so the old Remington is up there charging now. I'm hoping when we finish the podcast, I can go up and get a few more shaves out of that one, so I don't have to go back to the Braun. Because I think that's what will happen. Is I'll use it. We'll move to a new accommodation. I'll throw it in the bag. I'll lose the box. Something will become complicated. The receipt will go missing. All that kind of stuff, and then it's like, I got better shit to do. I've got a podcast to record.
If you receive your new razor and you can't get it to charge in Australia for whatever reason, will you return that one?
No, there's a no returns policy on it.
Oh.
That was the one thing, Will. When I made the purchase on Amazon, I went through all the conditions. It's like, this is no returns on this product. And I was like, why would I need to return it? I love this particular beard trimmer. This is my favorite. It has the built-in mustache trimmer, like the alien mouth. I will never have a reason to return this. I mean,
you might not have. Perhaps Remington, perhaps this is part of the upgrade, is that it works on any power system. Maybe they have unlocked the universal adapter or something.
I mean, you would have thought that if it didn't have the Australian adapter or the Australian plug, because all my details are Australian in there. It's an Australian credit card. It's an Australian address it's coming to. That there would be, because I've tried to, when you try and purchase stuff from Australia and America, and they're like, that's not an American credit card or whatever, and you have to use your VPN. That didn't come into play. Like, why would it be advertised on the Amazon Australia website if you can't use it in Australia?
I mean, I imagine this is quite a common logic used by people who've just been defrauded. Like, why would somebody ask for my credit card details if they weren't going to use them legitimately?
All right. Well, strap yourselves in, teabaggers. In 3 weeks' time, on the 16th of September, we will find out.
Yeah. This wasn't just a mundane story. This is a mundane storyline. We've hooked you in.
We'll do an unboxing because we're doing stuff over Zoom now. So we're videoing some of the podcasts. We're talking about releasing more video content of the actual podcast. Why don't we do an unboxing? I'll wait till we record and we can unbox live on the show and people can work out if I've been defrauded or not.
I can't wait. I'm all in. I got to be honest with you. I won't be able to think about anything else for the next 3 weeks.
All right.
And by the way, for you as my friend, I am hoping that it will be able to be charged and you can live a life with this product that you value so much, and it'll bring you a small amount of happiness in a very hard time. But comedically, clearly, I'm hoping for the fact that it will not charge when it gets to Australia. I need to be very clear that I am conflicted about what I want the result to be.
If anyone out there has a 3D printer or understands 3D printing and wants to make me a new adjustable guard, it's a Remington beard trimmer. The serial, it's the number 4 product number 4045, and it's the adjustable guard. So I don't know if we've got some clever listeners out there who have 3D printers. That's what I want.
Also, I love the idea that there is a subculture of other people who also are shouting out the 4045. Yeah. You know, people who are just like, 4045 in the house. Like, there will be.
I went on, was it Quora and Reddit and stuff, and people, I'm not the only guy who loves this beard trimmer. It's like, amongst us beardos, it's considered like one of the best ones to get, one of the best multi-purpose. It's the Swiss Army knife of beard trimming. Let's get to some mail, Will. If you want to send us the mail, you can go to tofop.com. There's a little contact form down the very bottom. You can also sign up for our newsletter, Just the Facts, which comes out every Friday, keeps you up to date on all the latest toings and goings and fromings. What is it? Comings and goings, or things that are happening.
Pissing and pottings.
On the TOFOP network. And while you're at tofop.com, you can also listen to all our other great podcasts, including Willosophy. Who's on this week, Will?
Jenna Owen, as people might know, the other half of the Contact Tracies. Victoria Zerps was on Willosophy about a month or so ago, and her partner in comedy, Jenna Owen, is on the show this week. Dave Woodhead last week as well. I recommend people check that one out. David Woodhead from Triple J. And on FOFOP this week, I will be joined by Justin Hamilton. We recorded that yesterday. It is very fun and very funny, so I recommend that people check that as well. And of course, it is AFL Finals time. At the moment, we are recording this Sunday at midday, so the Bulldogs have not played in their elimination final yet. So my mood for our podcast will be very much determined in the next 6 hours or so.
Am I right in understanding that Jenna Owen, is that where you mentioned me seeing her and Vic at the op shop?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Well, I said my friend. I don't think I might have said Charlie, but perhaps I identified you fully. I can't really remember.
The beardy guy, the guy who loves to trim his mustache.
Yeah, a real beardo.
Okay, let's get to some mail. This is from Brett. He says, "Hey guys, I have been fortunate enough to receive both of my Pfizer vaccine doses. I thought it'd be amusing to wear my James Fosdyke original Everyone Relax t-shirt, available at redbubble.com. Thank you for plugging for us, Brett. I was a little disappointed that it did not even receive a single comment on either occasion. Whilst I am not sure I saw any doctors, there were plenty of nurses, and they were doing a fantastic job too. So big shout out to them. Perhaps they weren't TOFOP fans, or maybe they just weren't ready to relax just yet."
I mean, they are big shout out to all the frontline medical workers at the moment, because as our country is being swamped a little, particularly some of the big eastern states with COVID cases and hospital admissions and ICU cases, and the fact that frontline workers, both vaccinating people and looking after people, are still, 18 months into this, like still working at a ridiculous pace. I just think any time that we can have a shout out to them and the incredible job that they are doing. Probably don't have time to be listening to TOFOP.
You wouldn't think so.
While they are, no, but you know what? In this case, you keep them living so we can keep them laughing.
This is from Luke. He says, "Hi, gents. I'm a recent patron, not a doctor. That's great. If you want to support us, we forgot to mention that you can go to patreon.com/TOFOP. Lots of bonus content up there. We put up a new bonus episode every couple of weeks. Right now, there is a mailbag episode. I think that's right. Yeah. Oh, no, I haven't uploaded it yet. By the time you hear this, there'll be a new mailbag episode up there. And there's a bunch of comic strips drawn by James Fosdyke. Really good stuff. So be a patron like Luke." He says, "A mate of mine was extolling the virtues of the Iceman Wim Hof. His shtick seems to be if you breathe and take ice showers, you can climb Everest in your undies. This seems to be prime TOFOP areas. With Will as an Iceman denier, And frankly, I would expect Charlie to be all about this. I'm not sure about the Hoff's position on banana cakes. Thought a deep dive, or at least a 20-second cold shower, would be worth enlightening. I'm not hugely familiar with Wim Hof. I'm aware of the basic principles. I saw some people doing it earlier this year down at a lake. They're all jumping into this like kiddie pool that was filled with ice and stuff, and seemed very cultish to me.
I think it's to do with the breathing technique, Wim Hof breathing, I believe, and the breathing in being able to control your body. So you immerse yourself in like cold water, cold showers, or like immerse yourself in cold water, and you're meant to be able to, through your breathing method,
your body temperature or something?
Essentially to your body temperature, or like it, and it kind of resets your body temperature. It is certainly one of those things that is on the edges of pseudoscience. Yeah, right next to woo woo. Not maybe not full on in the woo woo clan, but definitely woo woo adjacent, I would say. But the thing I like about the Wim Hof thing is that we all know that breathing can affect your like the way that your body reacts to things, and like there's been a whole bunch of studies on the effects of cold water. It's why, you know, athletes use like ice baths and stuff after games. So, and it doesn't seem to be heavily monetized. My suspicion around all these things are always if it's like, you know, feels unnatural and is also being monetized. Whereas like a lot of the Wim Hof stuff, I think it's just like, well, you can just have a cold shower at home and do some breathing. And, you know, I don't necessarily think that's
Haven't monks been doing stuff like that for centuries where they can change their body temperature? They can sit out in the snow and meditate and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, people have been doing stuff like that. I think that, you know, the idea that the mind has some control over the way that your body reacts to certain situations, and that breathing is super important. I mean, if anyone's, you know, seen somebody have a panic attack,
childbirth,
like you can see how breathing can be a way to get you through. Yeah, childbirth being obviously a major example of it.
Shitting on a pot before you get off.
Well, just, you know what? Just if you shit, don't do a lot of breathing immediately after. That I do not endorse. Wim Hof, fine. The Charlie Clausen I've got, it's like Wim Hof. But you have a shit and then you sit on the pot and you like breathe really deeply.
I don't know
if
that's Wim Hof, but that is Wim Off.
Hey Wim, shit and then get off.
They're going to shit or get Hoff. This is from Taryn. Hey guys, I'm going to apologise straight away, Charlie, because this is purely an email to make a TOFOP guest request to Will. Do you take requests?
Yeah, well, I'm willing to hear them. I technically don't take them. Like normally what happens is if someone suggests something that I was already thinking about, I might like, you know, send that person a message and get them on. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm happy to hear who it is.
Okay. Normally I'd send this via Instagram or Twitter, but I figured you'd be super busy with Question Everything, which I'm loving, by the way.
Thank
Question
you.
Everything, 8:30 p.m. Wednesday on the ABC, sorry.
ABC iView as well if you want to catch it up. Yeah, we've only done a couple episodes so far, but it seems to be improving in the right direction, and I'm very excited about this week's episode.
Who's on tonight's episode?
Okay, so, last week, this is the times that we currently live in. Obviously, people have a whole bunch of things that affect their availability. So I mentioned that Vic Zerbst was going to be on the show last week, and then she had to pull out due to an emergency, unfortunately, at the last moment. So Lauren Bonner did the show from Big Natural Talents. Check out that podcast. It's very funny. So at the time of us having this conversation, our guests for this week are Susie Youssef, who is absolutely brilliant, who's been on Philosophy, Dane Simpson, who is an incredible, very funny Indigenous comedian from Wagga Wagga, who, like, this is not a line that I often say, but I think I can just say in this context, was when I got arrested on my way to Wagga Wagga, Dane was the first person that I saw who wasn't like a policeman or an official person. And so he came backstage to just, see if I was cool and to have a laugh with me and whatever. And still to this day, one of the funniest moments that I can't say in the story because it's not my story to tell and you'll understand when I say it. But he looked at me and he goes, "Mate, you've been arrested by the police in Wagga Wagga for something you didn't do. I officially announce you an honorary Indigenous person." And I was like, that is a very funny joke that I cannot repeat, unfortunately.
Is it possible this is
Tom Cashman, sorry. Tom Cashman is the third guest as well. So if you haven't seen his TikToks, I highly recommend Tom Cashman. Very funny.
Brilliant. If it's all possible, can you please get guest Charlies back like Matt Kirshen or Graham Elwood?
Yes.
All right. There you go. Will's taking requests for FOFOP from now on.
At some stage. I've wanted to get them both back on at some stage. So at some stage.
The final bit of mail here is from Joel. The subject line is, am I becoming a Charlie? God, I hope not.
Great.
Hi, Charlie and Will. I thought I would drop you a line to get your collective thoughts on matters. My wife and I have recently had our first child. Congratulations. What a ride that has been. She's mostly happy and healthy, so we have no real complaints, except for the bastards that have stolen our bin twice. Last week, our bin was nicked from our house. My wife promptly called the council and had it replaced, only to find out that the bin would be replaced with a smaller version. That was okay. We could handle that. We never filled the other one anyway. But little did we know that within 12 hours of the new one arriving, it too was taken from our property. What a range of emotions this has opened up for me. I don't understand why our bins have been targeted. I'm both angry and saddened that there are people out there who believe this kind of behavior is either acceptable and or funny. Anyway, Charlie, do you have any tips on not losing your shit over bin antics? No.
Firstly, I would love if they rang the council for another replacement bin and they sent them one, but it was even smaller than the last one.
Smaller? That's like a Russian
every
doll.
time you lose your bin, they'll send you another one, but it's smaller in size than the previous one.
Do I have any... no, I lost my shit. Clearly, you listen to the show. You know that I don't handle bin theft very well. It is bizarre that it would happen within a 12-hour period. That makes me think that it was the pristine nature of your new bin. My theory, my hunch, two different thieves. I reckon the first one was an opportunistic, and then the second one was like, oh, that'll be great to fill with beer at my next Australia Day party.
No. I think this is like criminals having the best day of their entire life. They've stolen a bin, a dirty old bin, and then these suckers who've already identified that they can't keep an eye on their own bin, can't control their bins. Now it's essentially you've stolen someone's old car, and then the next day they've rolled up with a brand new car and parked it in the same place. And you're just like, beauty, I'm also stealing that car.
Currently, we're doing sneaky nighttime runs to dispose of our rubbish in our neighbours' bins. What have I come to?
Hurt people.
Keep up the great work. Thanks for the laughs. Yeah, that's what I think that is. I mean, I don't know that is... look, I'm not above dumping rubbish in neighbours' bins. In fact, when I packed up my apartment in Sydney, that last night I was there and I just had a few bags of rubbish, I did do a sneaky run around and dump into some unprotected bins. But surely you can call the council. And here's my recommendation. This is what I did when I was in the peak of my bin madness. Is I bought a padlock and a chain, and I drilled holes through the lid of the bin and the side of it, and would lock my bin shut because no one's stealing a bin that they can't open.
I got to be honest with you. At this point, I'm intrigued of where the bin's going. So I would, much like when I was at primary school and somebody was stealing the lunches from people's lockers and bags, what they did was they planted a disgusting sandwich, right? So like they made this disgusting sandwich and then they planted it in. It was meant to be like, I guess, the ink dye, bombs that go off in like bags of money at the bank or whatever. And so like, the thief would find this disgusting sandwich. And I think maybe get one of those little trackers you can put like on, you buy them and you like put them on your keys or whatever. And,
well, as we discovered last week, Will, an ordinary iPhone, just leave that in there, use Find My Phone.
Yeah, I mean, but this feels like too much. I don't want to spend I don't want to risk the fact that I've also, I've lost the bin and also my iPhone. That's too much. But I am willing to invest in one of those little tracking devices, put it on the bottom of the bin and see where the bins are going. Because I would love to go and find somebody who's just got a house full of bins.
I mean, it's not. Do you think it's a crime of opportunity, or do you think now it's become more of they're keeping an eye on this couple and they're vulnerable?
I mean, I would just be I'd be setting a honey trap. I'd be freshening up that bin. I'd be just putting a ribbon on it, maybe. Yeah, just look at this. Maybe just roll it up and down the street a bit, just parade it.
Work it, baby, work it. All right, that's TOFOP for this week. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Will Anderson.